Hello and welcome, it's Chris from Christopher Holt Training and welcome to this week's tutorial where we're going to be looking at 3 essential stretches for lordosis. Now you can find these in my How to Correct Lordosis ebook, which in the description below you'll find the URL, you can click through and you can purchase the book, you can find this information and much more, exercises, underpinning anatomy and knowledge, and also everyday activities that you can start doing to help correct your lordosis. Alternatively, you can come to either Facebook, Instagram or YouTube. Please do like and follow. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please do leave comments and questions below. I'd be happy to answer them and help point you in the right direction to the information that you might need. So what we'll do now is we'll get straight into and find out more about these 3 essential stretches. Stretch number 1 is for the psoas, which is very closely linked to the iliacus as well, which is another hip flexor. Now the psoas goes from your T at the bottom of your thoracic spine, all the way down your lumbar spine, through your pelvis and onto the inside at the top of your thigh. So this is one of the major hip flexors and this is one of the major muscles that causes that exaggerated curve in your lumbar spine. So what we want to do is we come down onto one knee. Now the first thing we need to do is fix the pelvis in place. A lot of people when they come to this stretch, they just let everything go lax and then they stretch and they don't really necessarily get the stretch that they need from that muscle. So what we do is we fix the lumbar spine and the pelvis in place. What we then do is we then reach forward with the body. So we start coming forward and then we might start to feel a stretch here. If that's enough, we can just use that as our stretch. If we then want to add a small progression to it, we can lift this arm up above the head, and then what that's doing, that's now starting to extend the upper spine and the thoracic spine, which is where the psoas joins onto. So you get not only the lower portion of the psoas being stretched, but also when you bring the arm up, you start to then stretch the upper portion. You may then find the stretch comes up a little bit higher. And that's the kind of thing that we are looking for from stretch number 1. Stretch number 2 is for the rectus femoris, which is another hip flexor, but this time it joins from the front of the pelvis here, all the way down to just below the kneecap here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the same position as we did for the psoas stretch. So we're going to go down onto one knee, but what we've got is 2 little instruments and tools here to help us get a little bit more from the stretch. So what we're going to do, we're going to come down into this position on one knee, again, fix the pelvis in position, and then start to lean forward on that knee. You may then feel the stretch go right down the thigh. So mainly in the middle of the thigh, but you should feel it go all the way down. So you're just coming into that position. Now that could be a mild stretch, or it could be quite an intense stretch. So what you can do, if it's mild, is you can bring the roller a little bit closer to your knee, which then just lifts the foot from the floor a bit further, which is then going to bend the knee a little bit more, which is then going to cause a bit more of a stretch through the rectus femoris. Finally, if that's not tough enough for you, you can use a resistance band or a towel or anything that you can hook your foot in or your ankle in. What you can then do, if we bring this around the front as well, this is for balance. We then bring the towel or the band over the shoulder, again bending the knee a little bit more, and then going into stretch the rectus femoris. Other things you can use, you can hook it up on a bench, hook it up on a sofa, hook it up on a step, whatever it might be. But the second muscle is the rectus femoris, and that's how we do it, down on one knee, lifting the foot from the floor. The third stretch is for the adductors, which is down the inside of the leg. Now this is associated with lordosis. It's not necessarily a direct effect of lordosis, but what it will start to do is it will start to pull on the knee and bring it inward. So what we want to try and do is keep the knee outward. And how we're going to do this, very simply, come down onto both knees, come down onto both hands. Get a neutral posture through the spine and lift one leg out to the side. Again, you'll feel the stretch go down the inside of the leg. If you want to make the stretch a little bit more intense, just bring the knee a little bit further away. And again, just make the stretch a little bit more intense down the inside of the leg. And all this is doing, this is also assisting the psoas to lengthen because we're bringing the leg further away, but the main stretch is the adductors on the inside of the leg. So we hold that stretch, put all those 3 stretches together to be able to get a more maximum or maximal stretch through that hip area to help our lordosis. To quickly summarise before we finish, we've got 3 essential stretches to help our lordosis. Stretch number 1 is for the psoas, where we go down on one knee and then lift our arm over the head to extend the upper back to get the stretch through the full part of the psoas. Stretch number 2 is very similar. Again, we're down on one knee. It's for the rectus femoris. This is where we're down on one knee and we lift the foot from the floor. We can use a roller, a step, a bench, a towel, a resistance band, whatever it needs to be to get the stretch down the sort of the inside or middle part of the thigh there. And then the final stretch for the adductors, which go down the inside of the leg. We're then on the hands and knees, neutral posture through the spine, taking the leg out to the side. If we need to progress it, we take the knee further away from the foot to increase the stretch through there. So as I mentioned, all these 3 stretches are in my How to Correct Lordosis ebook, which if you go down into the description below, you'll see the URL. You can purchase the book and you can get more knowledge around how to correct lordosis. The right exercises, more about the right stretches, more underpinning knowledge and more everyday activities that can help you correct your lordosis. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from Christopher Hole Training. I'll speak to you in the next tutorial.